people who have actually had sex with a step-relative. What was the aftermath? We were on a family holiday in Spain and the apartment was quite small, so a few of us slept in the living room. This year I was almost asleep when I heard my older brother get a hand job from my step-sister. I had forgotten about the sounds until now, so thanks bro. I don't think they had sex, maybe without me knowing, but I don't think there was any aftermath. Besides extreme awkwardness on my part for the rest of the holiday and a significant time afterwards. Now I think about it, they were both ill for a few evenings that holiday, so now I realize that was bullshit and it was Bang City. To further expand, as it may not be clear, my dad and stepmom would take us out for dinner every night, so both of them being ill meant they were in the apartment alone. Peace. I don't know if they knew I was awake. Hope not. But now I can't stop thinking about the unbuckling of the belt and the unzipping noises and then fap 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 etc. Brother was 16, stepsister 15, and I was 13. I am now 31 and I hadn't thought about this in at least 10 years. You replying to yourself makes this 3x funnier. This is a lot better as a reply as opposed to an edit edited for grammar. My stepbrother is also my brother-in-law. He married my sister and they have 2 kids. This isn't a good story though. They were dating before our dad and his mom started dating, so we all met as adults. And I knew him originally as my sister's boyfriend, and then it got weird on paper cause our parents married. Did your parents meet through them, or did they not know they were dating? Our dad and my stepbro mom were like high school sweethearts but married other people. My dad marrying my mom. His now wife marrying my stepbro dad. After high school, our dad had told us stories of her many times and the chance came for us to meet her when she was in town, and we met her and her 2 sons and all exchanged numbers. At this time our dad was still married to his second wife. Then it came out later that there was an affair and my dad got a divorce and married my bro-in-law's monsieur. However, he got remarried really fast, so at the time of my sister's wedding, she was marrying her stepbrother, even though they had dated openly longer than my dad and his mom. Edit. Try to add some clarity without convoluting it more. Not me, but my older brother. For years the story was he got the clap from this older woman who took his virginity. A month ago he told me the truth. He got the clap from our stepsister, who at one point tried to sleep with me too. He clapped dad ass, and dad ass clapped back. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Smart guy. Bro, you were almost Eskimo brothers with your brother, through your sister. Now that's a sentence. Had a coworker who was sleeping with his stepsister. Both of them were already in college when their parents met and got married. Pretty sure it lasted a while, with them all living in the same house. Eventually got caught by one of the parents, which ultimately led to the parents separating. Hashtag sis loves me. Edit. Thanks for the gold, big brother. What are you doing, stepbro? My sister gave our stepbrother a blowjob on one end of our wrapped-around couch, with our grandmother asleep on the other end. Spoiler alert, she woke up. We had some fucked up family dynamics. Edit. I've answered these in the comments, but for anyone who doesn't feel like scrolling. What happened when she woke up? My grandmom woke up mid-job, smacked my sister on the back of the head with her slipper. They sprung apart and ran away without saying a word. And the next morning everyone just acted like nothing ever happened. As far as I know, my grandmother never said a word about it to anyone. Where was I? I was in bed, sneakily reading Aragon and none the wiser. Until my sister told me the next morning. I think these 2 instances perfectly encapsulate who we both were as a person, lol. And still are, tbh. Hey, I think I've seen this one before. Hooked up with dad's girlfriend's daughter before they married. Her mom found out. All she said was, well, I'm glad you 2 got it out of your system before you're related. Anyways, it was boring and pointless. The whole naughtiness of it was the best part. Edit. Punctuation. Because I'm worried about what you people will think of me. Greater than the whole naughtiness of it was the best part. So you're to blame for the flood of step-sibling porn epidemic. My husband's brother secretly dated their stepsister. Only my husband knew about it. Despite him telling his brother that it was a bad idea, he still pursued the relationship. They had to confess to the family because she unexpectedly got pregnant. Their mom was upset and disappointed, but said she'd support their decision to be in a relationship and start their own family. The father, however, could not get on board and pressured his daughter to get an abortion and to end the relationship. They still ended up together and had the baby. A few years later, they both cheated on each other and ended the relationship. Family gatherings are super awkward with my husband's side of the family. Edit. I should add, when they became step-siblings, she was 10 and he was 13. They started dating when she was 23. Dude, that sounds really awkward. How often do you go to family gatherings for his side? Absolutely nothing. We were in our 20s when our parents got married, got drunk one night years later, smashed, went about our business. We'd hook up every once in a while afterwards, but just kinda stopped. No fanfare, no drama, and we're still cool. Fun while it lasted. 10 out of 10 would hit again. Username checks out. Considering you were both already adults when your parents got married, this is probably as tame as this scenario can get. My dad was banging my mom's sister and I have a couple of cousin brothers to show for it. Yes, Florida. Oh dear, this thread is like a car accident. I really don't want to see what people say, but I also can't help but to be curious. My parents are stepsister brother. What's your relationship with them like? Good. I love them dearly. They are divorced and don't communicate but are friendly with each other. Honestly, it messes up my family tree and it's hard to understand who is who to me. Though it's funny thing to tell people. My 6G grandparents were step-siblings. It was indeed confusing at first when I was trying to research the family tree. I was like, okay, his father is XXX and his mother was XXX and his mother died and his father remarried to XXX. Now her father was XXX and her mother was XXX and her father died and her mother remarried to. Now just wait a damn minute. Holy shit, that's a lot of porn stars for one family. A girl I worked with had, in my opinion, a really weird situation. Her dad was dating a woman and she was dating the woman's son. All living under the same roof too. I believe they broke up and it got pretty toxic as they kept trying to make their step-sibling jealous by bringing home randoms to sleep with. Imagine explaining that one to the people you're bringing around. One of my uncles married a woman when they were in their 50s and their 20-something kids ended up falling in love and marrying. So my cousin married her stepbrother. My uncle ended up divorcing and has a third wife, but my cousin is still happily married with 3 kids 20+ years later. To quote Giguk, if they're not blood related, they're free to be dated. As long as you say no chromo. Magnificent crafting. Thunderous applause. Our parents got remarried later in life when we were already grown adults. We're both only children, so having siblings was a new experience for us. But we wanted it to work, if only for the family's sake. In an effort to grow closer, we decided to go drinking one night. A few months after we met for the first time, she ended up crashing at my place. I offered to take the couch and give her the bed, but she insisted we sleep together in that weird feet-to-head setup. My drunk ass promptly went to sleep. I woke up in the middle of the night to find a spooning, and me with a serious erection poking her ass. I froze. I didn't know how I got there, what was going on, or how I was going to get out of this gracefully. I had just decided to extricate myself slowly, in the hopes that I didn't wake her. When it happened, wiggle wiggle, she started wiggling her ass against me. On instinct, I started bucking. Tap tap. Wiggle wiggle tap tap. There was only one way to go from there. We went out that night intending to become closer. Mission accomplished. We fucked a few times a week, for 5 to 6 months before we both met other people. In that time we became very close, telling each other our fears, secrets, and generally being what you think of as brother and sister. Except for that other thing. Friends have remarked about how close we are, especially for how short a time it's been. Turns out, there's a shortcut for that. You'd think that would be the end of the story. But instead of going our separate ways with the new people in our lives, we ended up realizing we had fallen hard for each other. Now we're dating and trying to figure out how to tell our parents. Family and friends might not have that problem for too much longer though. The last time your dad came into the living room where we were hanging out, well, first he knocked. This is the kind of story that's supposed to be in here. Tap tap, wiggle wiggle. A guy the first knew, while we were both early teens, had a huge crush on a girl who was a close friend of his family. His parents were church friends with her parents. Then, her parents both died in a car accident, and his parents had agreed to adopt her if such an incident were ever to occur. His mom was kinda weird and made him start calling her sister. And none of his family knew he was head over heels in love with this girl. Or if they suspected a crush they pretended not to. What they for sure didn't know, because his parents would have disowned him, was that by high school, they were secretly banging almost every night. I lost touch with them during high school, and I want to know what ended up happening with them so badly it drives me crazy to think about. Edit. To the million people asking me to track them down now. I tried years ago but literally the only thing I have to go off of is his name. We only hung out for a few years. And it was because my mom and his mom were work friends who hung out outside of work a lot during that time. I don't know what school he went to or what church they went to. I don't remember his school friends' names. I'm only about 70% sure I'm even remembering the girl's name correctly. The only avenue I could think of exploring is asking my mom what her former coworker's name is or if she remembers where they moved to. But that's a really weird question to bring up 15 years later, so I don't really plan on going that route. I just gave his name another search. But it's a fairly common name and without more to go off of it's sort of impossible to find a match on social media. Sorry to disappoint. Have you tried toss the names on social media and see what shows up? I tried years ago with no luck. He has a fairly common name and I don't know where he lives now. My parents used to be step-siblings. My mom was 6. Dad was 12 when my mom's mom married my dad's dad. My dad lived with his mom primarily, though, and they never spent much time together. I think my grandparents were married for 6 to 10 years or something like that before they divorced. When my mom was about 20, Dad was 26 and he asked her out. They've been married for like 35 years. The complicated bit is that I have an aunt that was born from the marriage of my maternal grandmother and paternal grandfather. So my parents share a half-sibling, but they're no longer step-siblings. Edit. Rephrase the sentence for clarity. Also, guys, there are plenty of other southern hillbilly-ass states aside from Alabama. Unless I'm missing a reference to something. That being said, every generation beneath my great-grandparents on both sides has been born and raised in CA. Although funnily enough, my aunt did move to a southern state when she got married. I like to joke that she complicates the family tree so they kicked her out at a family event. So is she your aunt on your mom's or your dad's side? Greater than, so is she your aunt on your mom's or your dad's side? Yes. So thing could get complicated if you started dating that aunt. We fixed the washing machine so she wouldn't get stuck anymore. What are you doing, stepbro? Exclamation mark. Question mark, question mark, exclamation mark, question mark, exclamation mark. Quote. I love how no one has names in these documentaries. Yes, documentaries, for learning purposes. Well, we had sex 2 times. She got pregnant. We tried to work it out. It didn't go well. She left to a different state and then threatened to come get our daughter. I got a lawyer and filed for custody. She never responded and I won by default. I haven't heard from her since my daughter was 8 months old. That was over 4 years ago now. Edit. Word. Does no one remember to use protection when they're banging a sibling? Jeez. Trojan pulled the Trojan on me. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.